So we have three different murders taking place in different times and different places.
Right. But if we can find somebody who connects to all locations.
Hmm. Well, Windibank was the one who was alive through most of it.
Yes.
Should we maybe look at his area, or
Yeah, that'd be fine.
should
Yeah.
we send the irregulars? Go ourselves?
Um, I don't know. Does he like maybe have a wife we could talk to and learn about people he was arguing against, or what
Uh,
do the irregulars really do other than like spy and tell you that I don't know.
mm, yeah, I don't. I think if he had a wife or someone like significant other, they would be listed in the directory.
Yes, good point. Okay. All right. Yeah. Are the irregulars gonna break in and snoop around in his papers or what?
I think they keep things shady but legal.
Okay.
They bend the rules instead of break, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Why not?
Caught the missus at home. She says the chap who wrote the newspaper stories about the mummy of yours was one of Windbank's old students.
What? One of maybe Smith or Travis were actually one of the paper writers?
Hmm.
To the paper.
To the paper.
Or is
So
that or is the paper just going to give us their names, which would take us directly to them, which we should have done in the first place, and now we're taking multiple steps just to get around to visiting them directly.
mm. Do you wanna look up one of the students? Go see them?
Sure.
Smith or Travis?
Smith.
Smith.
Only one Smith in all of London.
Okay, I think we should just kinda drop on by. No
All
need
right.
to send the spies.
Sorry I can't help you, Ducky, but Mr. Smith has been out of the country since the middle of March. He's a good-looking bloke, except for the dirt under his fingernails.
Dirt under his fingernails? Smith?
Well, he's an archaeology student.
Oh, okay. So he's out of the country since the middle of March.
Yeah, he went on the other expedition. All right.
I'm wondering if this other expedition has any kind of importance.
Or if it's mentioned in the paper.
Mm-hmm. What we could do is we could look at the paper and see if there's anything on the expedition itself.
Yeah.
Um,
Recent excavations in Egypt. Dr. Ebenezer Turnbull delivered a lecture which dealt history of excavations, method, profitably, the method by which they may most profitably be conducted. Profit. Archaeologists James Windibank and Andrew Weatherby are embarking this week. Head of the Valley of the Kings near Karnak and Luxor. Electric light, photographs. Instruments, realized classical study, ample field of experiment and discovery. Prefaced his lecture. Primary motive was search to identify and keep such treasure. Treasure seeker, gold miner. So apparently, there's a lot of talk of these expeditions being lucrative, and people are well aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have motive.
Okay.
And there was something in the papers about some ad about some company, the Nile company or something, warning people against buying fake Egyptian artifacts. Is there really nobody who examined the bodies that we can talk to?
This is a medical man.
Oh,
Medical
examiner. All right, there we go.
Okay.
Sir Jasper
Meek.
All right, hi ho.
Beg your pardon, but could I have a word with you, Sir Jasper?
Dr. Watson, of course.
Are you investigating the death of Samuel Sneed? I just finished with him.
No, we're interested in James Windibank.
Ah, the mummy's latest victim, of course. Who hired Holmes for this one? King Tut?
Oh, that's a jolly good one. Actually, we don't have a client on this one.
Just for fun, eh? Well, about the only thing I can tell you is that that mummy has very powerful hands.
What do you mean?
The trachea was crushed along with one of the vertebrae of the neck. Death was instantaneous. Snap.
But the paper's reports say that there were mummy wrappings found round the neck.
Just window dressing. Without question, it was bare hands. The bruises and the way that the vertebrae was crushed leave no doubt about that.
Thank you very much for your time, Sir Jasper.
Ha.
We're very much appreciative.
Not at all, Watson. You will let me know when you've convicted the mummy.
Beg your pardon?
So I can perform an autopsy on him. Would be most fascinating, don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, I think I know.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Sounds, they made it sound like extremely strong. Possibly superhuman. Possibly not human.
Right.
And monkey hairs were found. Is there a circus in town?
A circus?
I don't know. A trained gorilla somebody's leading around to
Trained gorilla.
strangle the...
Really?
I don't know.
There could be a circus.
I'm just trying to make a connection.
That's possible. We could check the paper.
Yeah, that's all right. Should we try to talk to this Travis student? The shady
Right.
character?
Before,
Or do you think there's something to look for?
what was the name of the company that the boat was?
Jardine.
I wonder if they might have information on who was on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Those are people. We need a business.
Shipping companies.
Shipping companies. Jardine. There we go.
Cool.
Sweetness.
Here is a passenger list you requested, sir.
Not an actor.
Philip Travis was
Philip
on
Travis
the
was
boat.
Oh.
The disgruntled student was on the boat.
Okay.
Andrew Weatherby. Clarissa Weatherby.
And
Andrew
Jane.
Weatherby was the one who was murdered on the boat. And
Right.
James Windibank, yeah, that's okay. The disgruntled student was on the boat. Was Clarissa
Weatherby was on the boat too.
the student's wife?
Possibly, or yeah, that's entirely possible.
Funny, we've not heard anything about her.
So, you've got Clarissa Weatherby, and Travis was on the boat.
I guess it's about time to pay him a visit.
So you've been reading my articles in the Times. I'm honored.
Oh,
What do you think of them?
Quite interesting. You've clearly been following the murders quite closely. Who do you suspect?
I believe it is the work of the ancient Egyptian god Tumatef and his goddess Neith.
Be serious.
I couldn't be more serious. You see, Mr. Holmes, although I am a journalist, I was actually trained as an Egyptologist. I know all about these mysteries. That's why my articles carry the force of truth.
And what is the truth, Mr. Travis?
The truth is that the Egyptians discovered the secret of life. What we call science is mere child's play compared to the knowledge they had. Look at this. Do you know what this is?
It appears to be a mummified animal of some sort, a monkey perhaps.
Precisely.
Quite a conversation piece.
I've been using it in some very important experiments which, if successful, will unlock the secret for bringing back the souls of the dead. I've been working on it, Mr. Holmes, using these tanner leaves. Watch. Uma lotus. Licantina. Burura.
wah wah.
It appears that the soul of this particular monkey has no intention of making a reappearance.
It's only a matter of time. I know it is. After all, these secrets have been buried for thousands of years. These things don't happen overnight. But it will happen someday. This is my mission.
I believe I'll leave you to your work, Mr. Travis.
And don't go yet. But let me show you more.
Thank you. Some other time, perhaps.
Well, he's a little kooky. You know, he mentioned he believes Tuamatet and goddess Neef. Could he be referring to himself and his wife?
He has a wife?
Oh no, it was the murder. Never mind. Okay, no, never mind. Or maybe maybe the wife he's having an affair with.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, he's working with monkeys and wrappings. So, I don't know. It seems a little obvious.
You know, your circus idea, for some reason, with the animals and everything like that.
Well, just right there, Philip Travis was working with monkeys and perhaps other animals and wrappings. He was on the boat. He was disgruntled.
I wonder if there's a zoo or a circus.
Thanks. All right, I'll take a look. Embassies.
What's Elephant and Castle, I wonder?
Oh, can you look up information on it?
I can see if we have any. Vaudevillian Entertainment.
Send the irregulars to it?
I suppose. Is it really what we're looking for? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I mean, we just saw Travis was working with monkeys and perhaps other animals, so that could be where the dog hair came from. But he's not. He might not be strong enough to crush the spine of somebody with his bare hands.
Yeah, he doesn't look like, unless it was like mechanically, like maybe he closed like the lid of the sarcophagus on his neck or something. But
or maybe he's a little unbalanced. Perhaps in a psychotic rage he became that strong. I don't know. Mycroft Holmes can give us a hint, I believe.
Yeah, perhaps. But I'm not seeing anything zooish or circusy.
Nothing under C, or for circus, or A for animals. Oh, you're just going through all the letters.
Yeah, just kind of. There's an aquarium.
Well, let's see. I suppose at this point we could. I mean.
Manure Co.
I wonder if it would be worth talking to the captain and first mate.
Yeah, I think so. Probably. What was
Captain Rousseau and first mate was Tenny. Tenny Luther was the first mate. Herman
Ramsey?
Oh, Ramsey. Yeah, couldn't read my own writing.
Shall we visit?
Sure.
We had just come through a rather grueling storm, so I sent my first officer, Luther Tenney, down into the hold to check on the condition of the cargo. He reported back post-haste that Mr. Weatherby was lying dead among the Egyptian artifacts we were transporting. I turned over the helm to Tenney and went below to have a look for myself.
And did what you see confirm Teddy's report?
Unfortunately, yes. Weatherby was lying next to that coffin, or whatever it's called, apparently strangled. I went back to the bridge and put Tenney in charge of the investigation.
And what did he uncover?
Well, you'll have to ask him for the specifics, because I can scarcely recall the details.
Well,
Okay.
let's talk to Danny.
Luther Tenney.
Let me tell you, a murder, even by a 4,000-year-old mummy, was only one odd thing in a string of bad luck on this voyage.
What sort of bad luck?
It all started with the crew, really. Seamen were a rather superstitious lot to begin with, and the idea carrying about a 4,000-year-old mummy had them shivering in their timbers. We almost faced a bloody mutiny. Then there were the passengers, a strange lot. I can tell you that reporter fellow, Travis, did us no service at all with his mystic mumbo-jumbo. He and Professor Winterbank had a regular war of words going on about whatever powers this mummy was supposed to have. And there was the two Arabs.
Arabs? Interesting. Do you recall their names?
I should hope I do. One was called Barmy. He always carried around this curious little box. No clue what was in it, but Barmy never let it out of his sight. The other one's name was Al Sard, and he spent most of his time lurking about watching Barmy. My guess is he wanted that box.
Sounds like you had your hands full.
I haven't even told you about the fight yet between Mr. Weatherby and Mr. Urubaru.
Over what?
Weatherby's wife, I'd say, though they were a tight-lipped lot about it.
I see. Tell me, Lieutenant, we understand that you were the first person to discover the body.
Yes, sir, I was. Captain Ramsey sent me down to inspect the hold. I went immediately over to them Egyptian crates. Professor Winterbank was particularly anxious about him, you know.
Could you describe the scene as you remember it?
I'll never forget it. I just made my way to the back of the hold, and I noticed at the top of them crates, the one what carried the mummy's coffin was raised up kind of funny like. The coffin lid was laid off to one side, and there was Mr. Weatherby, all sprawled on the floor next to a bowl of ashes. He'd been strangled by a length of the mummy's sheeting. Bloody gruesome, I tell you.
Bowl of ashes.
Poor bloke's eyes popped out like a couple of sausages on a hot iron skillet.
Quite a vivid picture, don't you agree, Holmes?
Quite. And you reported this to Captain Ramsey straight away?
Absolutely. In fact, the captain put me in charge of the entire investigation.
And what did you discover? Did anybody have any contact with Weatherby on the night of the murder?
Not that I know of. I could account for all the crew. The passengers were in their cabins as far as anyone knew or would say. Nobody saw anything, heard anything, or knew anything. Besides, Weatherby was seasick from the beginning. He stayed pretty much in his cabin all the time. Maybe that's why the lovely young Mrs. Weatherby was gallivanting about.
With Uruburu?
Yes, indeed.
And what of the bowl? Where is it now?
The bowl?
With the ashes.
Oh, yes. You know, now that you mention it, I don't recall ever seeing it again.
Perhaps something had recently been burned within it.
Yeah.
Some evidence, some note.
And Weatherby was sick, but maybe he was poisoned.
Yeah, we don't know if he had his throat crushed as well. That was just Winterbank, the most recent one. And his eyes were all bugged out. Well, maybe it's true.
So there's two...
There's several mentions of Weatherby's wife running around.
Should we see her?
Sure.
Okay, Weatherby. Clarissa Weatherby. Should we spy on her or go see her?
Maybe spy first and then go see her?
Okay.
It might be a waste, but...
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, boys.
I'm very sorry to intrude on you in your moment of grief.
Oh, that's quite all right. You know, Andrew and I haven't been married very long.
Long enough to know if you had any enemies?
Oh, Andrew was so unassuming. Everyone liked him.
Including Mr. Uruburu?
I really loved my husband.
I'm sure you did. Oh, English toffee. My favorite.
Would you like one?
Please.
Sorry. You'll have to open this yourself. I've never been any good with these things.
Never been any good with these things. Mm. So she can't open tins.
So she's very weak-handed.
Mm.
So she didn't strangle. Perhaps.
Okay.
I don't know.
Mr.
That's really weird. Why? Yeah.
And she was,
Well, I suppose we should talk to Aruguru, the guy
Aruba.
the guy Weatherby fought.
Aru,
Maybe starts with an O.
uh-huh.
Oh, Aruguru.
Arubaru. Okay.
If this is an inconvenient time, perhaps I could come back, Mr. Urubaru.
I wouldn't hear of it. Just a bit of a hangover. I've weathered plenty worse than this.
I'm investigating the death of Andrew Weatherby. You were on the ship with him out of Cairo. Did you happen to make his acquaintance?
Weatherby, a most tedious fellow.
So tedious, one might want to do him in.
Don't be preposterous. In my condition, I couldn't have done anything of the sort.
What condition was that?
And I thought you were a great detective. The first night out, a few of us threw a bit of a bash that went on until we docked in London.
Did Mrs. Weatherby attend this particular bash?
She was the guest of honor, you might say.
Okay.
Oh, well then.
Much drinking and...
Well, I suspect that their fight might simply have been due to the fact that the missus was participating in these parties and her husband didn't appreciate this.
He doesn't look like a criminal mastermind.
No, it makes me wonder if we're supposed to suspect the Arabs.
This was the early 90s. So one, oh God, what was his name? Started with an F. Fahmy? Akram Fahmy? That was one of them, and the other one had a... That's one of them.
I didn't write them down fast enough.
I think this was the guy that had the box, yeah, and was being very secretive about it. And there was one guy looking after him. Let's see, what was it? N, was it? No. Was it A? Al-Sad.
Swad.
So this was the guy looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
This was the guy.
I wouldn't be surprised if Fahmy was stealing something, and the other guy was trying to catch him in the act or find him out, or I don't know.
Send the irregulars to spy?
That sounds good.
Nobody was home, but I smell a rat.
So he's shady, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean we'd waste our time if we went ourselves?
Probably, yeah.
All right. How about the other guy then?
Should we visit or
whichever. What?
No one's home.
Maybe those are just distractions.
Could be, yeah.
I'd assume they wouldn't have completely different results like that between the irregulars going and us going. Let's see. Got the guardsmith. Are there any other Turnbills or Windy Banks?
We haven't Turnbill.
Just the deceased.
We could visit his family.
If there is any. And he was the first to die at the
Dr.
site.
Turnbull. He was a strange one, he was. Hardly ever at home. Always traipsing about a Lord knows where.
May I take a look at his things?
Oh, suit yourself. All he had is a big pile of books about Egyptian mummies and a few maps. He was a son of an earl, he was. Though you hardly tell from looking at him, poor fellow. Do you really think this mummy thing's what done him in? Creepy, I says.
Son of an earl?
Interesting.
Hmm.
There's probably a ton of stuff in the newspapers we're missing. Madame
Maybe.
Tussauds.
Let's take a look.
So I'm starting to think more and more that there's more than one murderer.
Yeah, it seems.
And people along the way have been kind of using the mummy as an excuse.
Okay, let's see here. Chimney sweepers. Morals of the Empire.
Oh, interesting. Must write to you formally, register my outrage. Your reporter's insinuation that I lack the credentials to unearth such antiquities is an utter affront. For your information, I'm a world-renowned authority in my field. Your reporter obviously has no appreciation. Earl of Downey.
Earl.
Ah.
Could he be the father of
Turnbull? So Travis
to
was
the editor of the Times.
So Travis was smearing them in the paper, perhaps, out of frustration.
So newspapers.
London Times.
Should we visit?
I think we're grasping at straws now, but I can't think of anything better.
Okay.
It's quite amusing, all this hoopla over a mummy's curse, I must say. Not so amusing, of course, the murder of 3 Englishmen.
Have any of your reporters uncovered anything new?
Actually, I've been in Paris the past several weeks. Just returned to London on Tuesday. I've had no involvement with the writing of any of these articles. I believe they are all the work of Philip Travis. He's one of our young reporters. For a short time, he was the Egyptian correspondent.
Was he sacked?
No. He returned to London just a few days ago. I gather he was reassigned to cover the case from here because he had some familiarity with the murder in Egypt.
Do you know Travis?
No, never actually met the chap, although I hear he's a bit of an odd duck.
Thanks for your help, Henry.
Anytime. Let me know when you catch the mummy. That's one scoop I'd like to get.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much more there is for us to solve. Or I mean, I'm wondering if there's really that much left to find, or if supposedly we have enough to figure things out. It's hard to tell. Are we unclear because we haven't found the evidence that we're missing, or is it unclear just because we haven't pieced it together yet?
I don't know.
So here's a theory. So Travis, disgruntled at not being chosen, goes to Egypt and murders, Turnbull in the crypt. But then my question is he strong enough to strangle him?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But then on the trip back, it's possible that Weatherby... But then what's with the bowl of ashes?
Yeah, there are a lot of little, motive is...
Travis could be planting the wrappings with the hairs. I think it's pretty obvious he's putting the wrappings around the necks.
Yeah.
Which makes me think he's not just stumbling upon 3 murders. So he's probably the guy, but is he working with others?
Yeah, I would imagine that he would be working with someone else.
Ooh, here's an idea.
Hmm.
Here's an idea. The most recent guy to die,
Uh-huh.
Windibank.
Right.
He was like half in or out of the sarcophagus, like reaching out with his hand or something.
Mm-hmm.
What if he was setting it up and there was an accident, or maybe not an accident, and like I think you mentioned something about the heavy sarcophagus lid. What if what if like he was reaching in the sarcophagus and the lid fell, hit him, broke his neck, and the owner or the museum curator is trying to cover up the death
Yeah,
because he wouldn't want the scandal of an accidental death, and he has a dog, so the wrappings.
yeah, I was about to mention the wrappings. They're kind of
No, the wrappings came from the wrappings are ancient, but they're not from the mummy. Travis is doing experiments with ancient wrappings.
right.
And with animals. The wrappings came from Travis.
Yeah.
But how is he killing them?
Yeah.
And why is... I mean, he might have killed the first guy to... just out of revenge. And then, well, maybe the other guys too. And then he's pretending to be a kook so people don't suspect him, and he's putting the wrappings to cover things up. And wait a minute. But it's like he's got an accomplice that we can't find, or can't find any evidence.